recording.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sean Andreas Podcast. I'm Sean,
And I'm Andreas.
and today we're actually doing a special episode, a double whammy, back to back, 1 week to the next. And today we're going to be talking about the NBA trade deadline, which was both eventful but also not too eventful. There was a lot of things that we wanted to see happen that ended up didn't happening, but there was also a lot of moves that did happen that just that did definitely change the landscape of the NBA. Maybe changed our expectations of what might happen. So we're gonna get right into that. So the first trade that I guess we can talk about is the trade that we have on his little jersey right there, with a player by the name of Norman Powell for Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood.
Yeah, it was kind of puzzling at first for the trade because granted, I knew they weren't gonna pay Gary Trent Jr., but at the same time, I think he was still worth keeping.
Yeah. So the reason I don't like the trade is because of the fact that we're gonna have to pay Norman Powell more than we would have to pay Gary Trent Jr. Norman Powell is a lot better right now, but he's also a lot older. You know what I mean? He's like 27, 28. I do like the win now moves, but I don't think this puts us in a better position. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this works out for the Raptors because now what I noticed they run a three guard lineup, so they could have Trent playing two or three.
They could definitely have Trent playing the three. In fact, that's what they've been. That's what they did whenever him, Lowry, and Van Vliet played together.
Yeah,
And then they also had OG Anunoby, and at the center position they had Pascal Siakam. But whenever Lowry set out, they actually ran a two guard lineup, a more normal lineup.
yeah.
So that was interesting.
So with the Blazer game, Lowry was out, so they just
Yeah,
had Van Fleet and Gary Trent, and then Anunoby at
that
the
game
three.
was that game was a lot closer than it should have been, considering that we were at full strength. All of our players were back. Dame played badly. He's been on like a 6 game streak where he's just not been playing good at all. It's really puzzling, to be honest.
Like I feel like I get the feeling he's playing while hurt.
I'm not sure. It's just like, I don't know. I've watched him play, and every single game he just comes up a little bit lackluster. You know what I mean?
Like I think they just need to like rest him.
Maybe. We do have like CJ back. We could do an experiment with CJ at the point or something. Norman Powell at the two. Start Nasir Little maybe, for that defensive kick. I think that could be an interesting little lineup to run. Maybe just sit out Dame 1 or 2 games, give him some rest.
Yeah. Also, I'm just gonna say I love that they're not having Nasir Little playing. You're getting minutes.
Nasir Little is really good. I really like Nasir Little. I like his energy. I like his defense. I like what he does for our team. I think he's a perfect fit. He slides into whatever we need him to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I remember going to that draft. I thought if the Blazers somehow got him, that'd be a steal.
I even told you like Nasir Little is a steal for us at the time.
Yeah.
All right, well let's talk about the next big trade. Go ahead,
All
hit us
right.
with it.
The next big trade: Nikola Vucevic and Al-Farouq Aminu to the Bulls for what was it?
Wendell Carter Jr.
Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter, and a first round pick.
It was 2 first-round picks. One was in 2021 this year. That one's top four protected, and the other one is in 2023, and that one is also top four protected.
I like the move for the Bulls side. For the Magic side, I'm a little confused because for a while I didn't think they were going to trade Vucevic, and that even if they did trade him, I thought it was going to be a bigger package.
So I think that this is actually a good move for a couple of reasons. I think that Wendell Carter Jr. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to be like an all-star player. I think he could be a solid player in the NBA. You know what I mean? So they get a young player. They have and a veteran just to match salaries in terms of Otto Porter Jr. But they also get 2 first-round picks, which are likely going to convey. Maybe not like they're not going to. Obviously, they won't hit top four, for the Bulls. I don't think, unless something dramatic happens between now and then, meaning like Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic leave Chicago. They might be in the lottery, but more chances are they'll be around the 13th to the 17th pick.
Yeah.
This year at least. And then whenever it comes to 2023, I think that they'll have a few more years under their belt. Whatever draft pick or signing or whatever else that they manage to get, they'll probably be a better team in 2023 if I just had to guess. So
Also,
I think
I never realized the Magic actually have a solid young core right now.
I don't think they do. I think they have a bunch of G Leaguers out there right now.
No, I mean like when healthy, they have a solid young core.
Okay, but to be fair, they have like their four best players out for the season with injury or some shit. Like they are unlucky when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And in terms of the Magic, I think they just really, really want to tank. Like that's what they're going for. They want to trust the process. They're pulling a 76ers, Sam Hinkie, 2016. Trust that shit. You know what I mean? They want to get their Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not even a bad idea, to be honest.
I think it's a worse idea now than it was in 2016 because of the new draft lottery odds, where
Yeah.
the top three picks all have the same odds of getting the number one pick, 14%.
Yeah.
And back in 2016, it was 25% if you had the worst odds. Go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
I was just gonna say, yeah, that's a little problem, but also, I think they they should be like in the middle like area for it, because even though it's a
Getting
lower percentage of getting the first round pick, there's still a high chance that they could you get the
I
first
mean, I
round.
guess I would rather, just like have like the worst odds and then get somewhere like in the 1 through 5 range no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Then potentially like fall into like 8 or 9. You know what I mean? I'd rather have a guaranteed top 5 pick by having one of the worst records in the NBA. Speaking of worst records in the NBA, the Houston Rockets are continuing being bad, even with Christian Wood back. Same with the Timberwolves. Neither of them really made any trades, but there was a trade that happened between the Celtics and the Bulls after the Bulls and the Wizards made a trade. So let's talk about those two trades.
yeah. The first part of it, Troy Brown Jr. and what's his name,
Oh, Wagner.
Mo Wagner to the Bulls for Daniel Gafford and Chandler
Chandler
Hutchison.
Hudson. Yeah. So I think this is just a whatever move. Nothing about this is very important. I guess Mo Wagner is actually a pretty good player. Mo Wagner is a pretty good player. I wouldn't say he's like starter material, but I think he's like a good bench center. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can stretch the floor. Um, his offensive repertoire is basically just that. Shooting some, maybe getting a couple rebounds here and there. And then he was actually just traded to the Celtics for Daniel Tice. So tell us what you think about that move.
Um, I like that for the Bulls because they get a little more size. Granted,
So I think that Daniel Tice is a really nice role player. Sorry for cutting you off. I'll let you go in just 1 second. I think that Daniel Tice is a really nice role player. I don't know why the Celtics gave him up. Why do you think?
honestly, I don't. I'm honestly not sure. I think they just want to go small. Considering they also just traded for Evan Fournier too.
Maybe. So do you think they're gonna have like a lineup of like Kemba Walker, um, Marcus Smart, Evan Fournier, like Tristan Thompson at the 5, and then oh wait, forgot about Jalen
Jalen
Brown.
Brown. I was gonna say.
Yeah, I forgot about Jalen Brown.
I was gonna say Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, and then Jalen Brown at the 3, and then maybe Tatum at the
Maybe.
4.
Or are they gonna like run a super small lineup where they're like Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, Evan Fournier, and then at the 4 they run Jaylen Brown, and at the 5 they run Tatum. I don't think that'd be a very good lineup, but they might run something like that.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure, but I don't know what the Magic were doing. They only got 2 second-round picks out of that trade.
Yeah, I mean we've seen a lot of micro ball or small ball being tested out by other teams. Not so much by the Celtics, really. So I'm interested to see what exactly they're trying to do. If they're trying to break the limitations of their team, what exactly moves they're trying to make, not make, etc.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
All right, and then there was one other trade, I think. What was it?
Which one are
It
you
was for
referring to?
Marquise Chris, right?
Oh yeah, they traded Marquise Chris to, I believe, the Spurs for, I forgot who for.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was for either. But they ended up releasing Marquise Chris afterwards, so
Yeah,
that was a move.
actually I think if I remember correctly, the Warriors traded Wanamaker and I think Marquise Chris to the Spurs.
Yeah, I don't know what they got back in return.
I don't remember either. All I know is that the Spurs waived him, and then ended up signing Gorgie Zhang.
Oh, and Jeff Teague was traded too, and then he was waived.
Who did he get traded to?
I think it was either Charlotte or the Magic or something like that.
Okay.
Well, I don't think there's any more trades that happened. Oh, never mind. There was one, and I completely misspoke earlier. The Rockets actually did make a trade, and it was the Victor Oladipo to the Heat.
For Kelly Olynyk, Avery Bradley, and 2 first-round picks.
No, it
Or
was just
one.
it was a pick swap with the Brooklyn Nets pick.
Yeah,
So,
I have no idea what the Rockets front office is doing with this management.
they're trying to pull a Sam Presti, but like worse in every imaginable way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like a greater value version.
It's like trying to buy. It's like, hey mom, Can I get Sam Presti? Mom, we have Sam Presti at home.
Sam Presti.
The Rockets. It's the fucking Rockets, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're doing a pretty bad job at acquiring those picks. I don't know. I guess they did get like 3 or 4 first-round picks for Harden, but even still.
Yeah, to pretty much I kind of want the whole summary of now, like what they've gotten ever since they traded Harden.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like very much, to be honest.
They could have had Karis LeVert and actually no, not Jared Allen. They could have had Karis LeVert, but decided to trade him.
They decided to trade him for Victor Oladipo. They still have John Wall there, and he didn't get moved. Speaking of moves that didn't happen, Lonzo Ball was expected to be traded, but he wasn't traded.
Yeah, I got so many. I have a lot of my friends just saying get ready for Lonzo to the Bulls.
I was hoping for him to go to the Clippers, to be honest. I think that would have been a very fun thing to watch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least they kind of got a playmaker in Rondo.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not Lonzo. Rondo is not Lonzo.
Yeah, but also we never know. It could be playoff Rondo too.
Also, speaking of Lonzo Ball, he shot better from 3 this year on more attempts than Trae Young. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did not.
That was a really big story that was like filling my timeline for an entire week straight. So I'm just surprised that somebody else didn't see it, because I saw it literally everywhere nonstop for a week straight.
That's the first time I've heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still true right now, but it was whenever I heard about it for sure. Another move that didn't happen but was expected to happen is, there was Kyle Lowry that was expected to be traded. There was a lot of trade rumors going around with Kyle Lowry and like the Sixers or the Heat.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the Lakers almost getting him?
I think that it was a false flag, to be honest.
Because from what I saw, the Lakers were willing to give up Dennis Schroeder, I Kentavious Caldwell Pope, but and I think a couple first rounders, but they initially the Raptors wanted Talon Horton Tucker, but the Lakers said no.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. That's a really weird line to draw. That's just a super puzzling thing to draw the line on. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, and even so, I don't know why the Lakers said no.
Yeah, It's just it's pretty weird. Um, though I guess I don't know. I guess they just really want to keep their depth in place because they already still have two superstars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, who are both injured right now, so that's a bit unfortunate. Speaking of the Lakers, they also signed off of buyout, free agent Andre Drummond, who is going to be a really nice pickup for them.
I have
Give me
a
your thoughts
lot
on
of
that.
people saying he's not really gonna have much of an impact. I want to get your thoughts on that.
I think he's going to have a decent impact. I think that if he is in a place where he doesn't have to play like first or second option on his team like he did on the Pistons, and he only has to play his role of blocking shots and rebounding, um, and even he could probably even focus on playing defense a little bit. Then he's going to be a lot better of a player, especially in a system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I know a lot of people are saying from like a former scout saying that he could he could give you 30 and 20 but still not make an impact. So I was initially trying to see like what your thoughts were on that.
I think that all stats, no matter what, have an impact. Just because he hasn't won games in the past, doesn't mean the fact that he's useless or something. Um, he's obviously a great rebounder. He's averaged 15 rebounds basically every season besides this rookie season, right? You don't do that just by being lucky. I don't care how good of a player you are. Grabbing 15 rebounds this season is insanely difficult. Um, like he's a rebounding guru. I was kind of like thinking like, if the Raptors wanted to be competitive, maybe he could go to the Raptors. Maybe he would go to like the Celtics or something because they also need another piece to add. Ended up going to the Lakers. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. Oh, there's another trade you forgot.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about it too. Is Denver Nuggets ended up trading for Aaron Gordon? They ended up giving up what
Gary
was it?
Harris,
Gary
R.J.
Harris,
Hampton, and a
R.J.
2025
Hampton,
protected first rounder.
Anthony one for protected first round pick for Aaron Gordon and Gary Clark. That trade's good for the Nuggets. I watched the game last night, or I watched the highlights of the game afterwards. Work schedule and all, and I was sleeping and shit. But I watched the highlights of the game afterwards, and Aaron Gordon looked really good. He was, pulling up from mid ranges and shit off the dribble. He was catching passes from Jokic like it was nothing. So that's good to see.
Oh yeah. Also to oh I was remembering earlier when you said my jersey. I thought for a second there I thought you were going to talk about LaMarcus Aldridge though, because this is LaMarcus Aldridge jersey.
Well, unfortunately, I can't see the number on it, so it's kind of hard to see. It kind of looks, well, okay. Or it still kind of looks like the same era as a Brandon Roy jersey or something. It could have been, B. Roy or Nicholas Batum or any of those
Speaking
other
of
players
that,
from
I
back
did
then.
pick up some jerseys for Blazer jerseys.
Nice. What kind of jersey did you get?
I got this one. I got a Brandon Roy one, and then remember when they had those short sleeve jerseys? I got a Dame one.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Well, speaking of your jersey this time, I guess we can talk about the individual player that it represents, and that's LaMarcus Aldridge, who ended up getting bought out from the Spurs and signed with the Nets. So give me your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean they're gonna start him at center, and
Are
it
they?
yeah,
Why would they start him over DeAndre Jordan?
I have no idea, but
I think DeAndre Jordan's a better player than him now.
Yeah, it's still a little puzzling to me, but if they if they can play it right, I think the net. Like, what are your thoughts that people are now calling this a super team? Like, is it valid or
Oh,
no?
okay, that's like calling the 2018 Cavs a super team.
Okay.
Like Isaiah Thomas and Derrick Rose and Dwayne Wade were on the 2018 Cavs. Okay,
Or
like
you could say the
it's
same
the
thing about
same
you could say the
scenario.
same thing about the 2017 Cavs too, when they signed
Yeah,
all those
it's this.
players.
I guess the 2017 Cavs is a better like case argument in terms of talent wise because at least the 2017 still had both LeBron and Kyrie. The 2018 only had uh, LeBron and K Love. Um, so I think that the 2017 is a better argument in terms of comparison to a super team.
Yeah.
And 2017 Cavs weren't a super team. I did not like the Cavs team back then. Um, and I didn't think they were a super team. You know what I mean? I was like, this isn't a super team. Darren Williams was on that team, I think. I don't remember who exactly was on the team,
It
but
was Darren
it
Williams,
wasn't a super
Derek
team.
Williams, Andrew Bogut.
Oh yeah, yeah, all of 30 seconds of Andrew Bogut before he broke his arm.
Yeah. And then people were complaining that the Cavs are trying to form a super team or something, with all these like named players.
Yeah, they're all like, "Oh, well, look how many top 5 picks they have on this team," and it's like, dude,
Or look at how many
they're
All Stars they have.
yeah, it's like, okay, relax. You know what I mean? It's like the 2018 Cavs. They had Derrick Rose. Oh, Isaiah Thomas just averaged 30. Derrick Rose, MVP player. George Hill's there. He was an All Star. He was battling for best point guard in the league against Chris Paul. Kevin Love, 2020 back in Minnesota.
Like, it's
It's
just
not.
filled
They're
with a
not
bunch of
exactly the same.
excuses, pretty much.
It's a similar thing to the Nets with these role players that they're signing. Yes, I'm saying that LaMarcus Aldridge is a fucking role player now. I don't give a shit. He's coming off the bench for the Spurs. He's getting benched for Jakob Pertl. He's a role player now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be brutally honest. He's a role player now. Same with Blake Griffin. He averaged like 12 points a game the last 2 seasons, and Detroit. He's a role player now.
A
It's
lot of people
it's not more than
are
that.
saying differently for Blake because it's like just the season before he was averaging like 20 or 19.
Okay, and then he got injured, and he hasn't looked very good ever since.
Yeah.
Like he got injured last season, barely played any games. He came back this season, looked atrocious. So you know, they're role players, man. I hate to burst people's bubble, but they're role players. They're not all-star players. Like Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge could barely start at best.
Yeah. And
And I don't think that Blake Griffin should start over someone like Jeff Green, even. I think that Jeff Green is a better starter than Blake Griffin.
yeah. Even so, I think if when all healthy, I think they're just gonna run their usual lineup of Kyrie, Harden, Joe Harris, KD, and then just LaMarcus Aldridge.
And then off the bench, I think they're going to have a lineup of, oh God, who's their backup point guard? Do they have a backup point guard?
I don't think so. They had Dinwiddie, but he got hurt for the season.
Yeah, they ended up not trading Dinwiddie either. And the Spurs ended up not trading DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
So that's two things. I think it's kind of interesting. They're running Harden at the point. They're letting Harden take over the point guard duties, while Kyrie kind of plays like the shooting guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess they're really just staggering Harden and Kyrie for point guard. And then they're having like Timothy Cabarro, they're having Bruce Brown, they're having Nicholas Claxton get minutes, Jeff Green's getting minutes, and now they have also LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin. So one of those guys is probably going to fall out of the rotation.
Yeah.
Probably going to be Nicholas Claxton, to be honest. Unfortunately, because he's been playing pretty well. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, any other thoughts you have on anything?
Nothing really I could think of.
Okay, well, how did you think about Norman Powell in his debut games?
Uh,
There's 2 games so far.
it definitely made me change my mind on the trade.
Don't you think that it's okay? So I don't know if you knew this or not, but Gary Trent Sr. played his first 3
Oh
seasons.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, played his first 3 seasons in
41 games.
Portland, and 41 games, and he got traded. And the exact same thing happened to Gary Trent Jr. First 3 seasons with the Blazers, and then got traded 41 games in. So
That, I thought that was funny when I first saw that.
And then it's also kind of interesting that the second game that we played after the trade was against the Raptors, who we made the trade with.
And then Rodney Hood having like 11 or 13 points off the bench too.
Yeah, I remember people getting really pissed about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember my dad just saying something like, "Where was this Rodney Hood at?"
It was Stotts, man. It's just that we have really bad defense.
Yeah.
That's it. Our defense is bad. It's like the worst defense of an NBA team I've seen, like a legitimate NBA team that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, even with those signings and trades they did, it's still bad.
Like I don't know how we can make it better unless Nurkic really starts to perform. His defensive ability is back to where they were pre-injury. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have any final closing things you might want to mention or anything?
I know I had some things on my mind for this, but I can't remember what.
Was it related to the trade deadline?
No, it was just teams in general.
Right. So I guess I will mention that the Raptors have been on they've only won 2 games out of the last 11. So the Raptors are not good.
Yeah, and did we ever talk about how well the Knicks are doing right now?
We did last. If you remember, I was saying like how this is basically porn for Knicks fans because they're in the 4th seed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're playing really well. This is the first time that they've ever been this high of a seed in a long time since the Melo days.
Oh, I just remember something for the Knicks. Mitchell Robinson's out. He's gonna be out for a while.
Oh yeah, he broke his hand, right, or his foot.
His foot.
Broke his foot. I thought he was already out. I don't know why.
No, he came back for a few games, and then he ended up getting hurt again.
Wow, that's a really unlucky break. No joke intended for that one. So it's unfortunate. I hope he gets healthy. Was there any other injuries? I feel like there was another injury or something that someone's going to be out for the season. I don't think so.
I don't remember. Also, Dort is going to be out.
LaMelo Ball might be returning before the end of the season. There was a news update, I think it was a couple days ago, where he said that he should be reevaluated in 4 weeks. So he could potentially come back before the end of the season.
Assuming they make the playoffs.
I mean, like, even still, he could make it back before the end of the regular season.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Unless you have anything else that...
No, I think that was everything.
Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Sean Andreas Podcast. If you guys did, please be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Any feedback is helpful. If you guys want to find us on Twitter, you can find me at the Faceless Merc. That's Merc with a K, and you can find Tim at
Purple Pony 15. Purple PWNY 15.
Yeah, and we're on there from time to time. We'll see. We appreciate any followers or anything. yeah, I think that's about it. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys want to see more of our content. We'll be doing this every now and again, every couple of weeks. And yeah, that's really it.
All right, see y'all later.
See ya.